might and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down.
Pathfinders, please raise your right hand as we do the Pathfinder pledge. Loving the Lord my God, I will.
Daily seek His presence, show friendship to others, keep the Pathfinder law, and honour my country.
We will now do the Pathfinder law. The Pathfinder law is for me too.
Look for the good in others, aim to do my best, love and respect my family, be thankful for what I have, preserve God's creation, take care of my health, be involved in my church, and go where He sends.
Welcome to the Castle Hill Church service this morning, where it is a special investiture service. It's our investiture for Pathfinders for 2020. It's been a challenging year this year in 2020, challenging from starting with fires, floods, to COVID. It's a year that we'll remember. And it was challenging for Pathfinders. We were able to fit in our first camp down at 7 Mile Beach, and we had a lot of fun down there. We were able to do then online meetings, and it's amazing to have an online meeting with about 60 people. There are lots of little squares as the faces come up and all the kids jump in online. We split into different groups. It was amazing to use technology to continue to meet as Pathfinders. We then were able to do some day walks, and we did a walk along the Great North Walk down to Crosslands, and we did a walk down into Bobbin Head, which is beautiful along the creek there. We had some outside meetings down here at the church and able to have some fun and games at the end. In Pathfinders, we try and teach kids how to solve problems. We try and teach resilience. And this year, my word of the year is to adapt, and we adapted as Pathfinders. And investiture also involves us adapting. To maintain social distancing, we've recorded this with no more than about 30 people in the church, and we've had each of the classes come in separately. So this morning we'd like to welcome Pathfinders, parents, friends, our Castle Hill Church community, and a special welcome to Rachel and her family, who was able to continue to meet with us after moving back home, was able to continue to meet online. So Rachel, it's great that you're with us, even if not in person, but we want to give you a special welcome. We hope you enjoy this investiture service as we worship together and celebrate the achievements of our Pathfinders.
This song is called Glorious Day. Sing from your home at your couches.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met but chains break out the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, but you called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You call my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day.
Our second song is The Blessing. Please sing with us.
Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace. Amen. Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace. Amen. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and their children, and their children, and their children. May His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, He is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming, in your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, He is for you. Find me now, where the grace runs as deep as your skies. You pulled me from the clay. You set me on a rock. You called me by your name. Made my heart whole again. Lifted up, and my knees know it's all for your glory. That I might stand with more reasons to sing than to fear. You pulled me from the clay. You set me on a rock. You called me by your name. Made my heart whole again. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you love my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. And that grace owns the ground where the grave did. But all my shame remains, left for dead in your way. You crashed those age-old gates. You left no stone unturned. You stepped out of that grave. You shouldered me all the way. Here I stand, high in surrender. I need you now. Hold my heart now and forever. My soul cries out. Once I was broken, but you love my whole heart through. Sin has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds me now. Healed and forgiven. Look where my chains are now. Death has no hold on me, 'cause your grace holds that ground. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now.
Please bow your heads with us as we pray. Dear Lord, we praise you for being the creator of the bush, the mountains, the lakes and the rivers, all of which we get to experience while we're here at Pathfinders. We thank you for all the sights we've been able to see from places such as Thirlmere, Asgard, Maramara, and the list goes on. We thank you for these great examples of your love. We know that we each are created beings and that we've been created by you to experience and look after this wonderful creation. And through Pathfinders, we're able to experience more of this, and we thank you for this opportunity.
Dear Lord, we thank you for pathfindering. We thank you for all the fun and adventures that Mark and Megan have been able to take us on through their years here at the club, and we just want to thank you that we can keep getting out into the outdoors and keep having some fun. We want to thank you that our club is such a great bunch of people, and you know that we're continually growing and people want to come and have some fun with us. We also thank you for our team of dedicated leaders, and we know that we couldn't be able to do this without them.
Dear Father, I'd like to pray for each Pathfinder in our club. Each one is a unique individual, and they're all amazing. They show great enthusiasm, resilience, keenness to learn, patience. They work well with each other. They really reflect your character to their friends and those around them. And yet we still see them grow through the time that they're in Pathfinders, and that's an amazing thing to see. And we know that you're blessing each one of them as they grow. Thank you for showing yourself to them, for revealing yourself through talking to them directly, but also through the wonderful places that we're able to take them and experiences that we have. And we know that we pray that one day that they will be able to lead others to know you through these same avenues. We thank you also for the memories that have been built up, and I pray that each one of the Pathfinders will carry these memories throughout their lives and treasure them, the memories of friendship, but most of all the memories of nature and of the wonderful God that you are. So once again, thank you for blessing our club this year, and all praise and honour to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hi, I'm Rachel. Pathfinders has changed a lot this year due to COVID-19. And even though we've only had one camp, we've still done lots of fun activities and honours.
Good morning, Castle Hill Seventh Adventist Church. It's so great to see you again. What a beautiful church family you are. And we just want to say thank you for the people who've reached out to us, and thank you for reaching out to each other and being the most loving church, being a beautiful family of believers. Today's a great day. It's our Pathfinder investiture, and it's the end of the year for Pathfinders. We've had such a different kind of year, a lot of homework to do and less camping and less of the fun stuff. So it's been different. But we're still thankful to be part of this club. We're still thankful to be part of a little church community inside of the Castle Hill church community. A church community that loves nature and creation and all the beautiful things that God has made in the outdoors. Today, I'm going to be speaking from a part of our pledge and law that I think is pretty important. The pledge and law is actually a beautiful mantra for life. It's a beautiful statement of activity and a statement of direction for your life that actually carries a lot of value and a lot of power in it. I'm going to read that out now, and then we're going to focus on one thing for today's short message. Loving the Lord my God, I will daily seek his presence, show friendship to others, and keep the Pathfinder law and honor my country. And then the Pathfinder law is this: look for good in others, aim to do my best, love and respect my family, be thankful for what I have, preserve God's creation, take care of my health, be involved in my church, and go where he sends. That is a beautiful list of things. If we lived that, if we actually lived that list, we would have an amazing life. It would be a life full of adventure and a life full of gratitude and a life full of blessing. Today I want to focus on just two parts of this, that list that I wrote. I want to start with daily seeking his presence. What does that mean? What does it mean to daily seek the presence of God? It means to spend time with him every day. It means to spend time connecting with God. In the Bible, one of my all-time favorite verses was quoted by Peter as he got up straight after the Holy Spirit was poured out on the new believers and the disciples, the church in Pentecost. And he got up and he started to speak this powerful message, one of the most powerful sermons ever spoken. And at the end of his sermon, he said, put up your hand if you want to get baptized. And 3,000 people put up their hand. An amazing story. But right halfway through his message, he quoted a Bible verse from Psalms. And this has been one of my favorite verses that I've memorized and put into my mind. It is Acts chapter 2, verse 25 to 28. And it says, I know the Lord is always with me. I saw the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Therefore, my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices, and my body will rest in hope, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, and you will not let your Holy One see decay. You have made known to me the path or the paths of life, and you will fill me with joy in your presence. I love three parts of that. At the beginning it says, I saw the Lord always before me. He was always there in my life. He was always in the room with me. He was right in front of me, right there. I always saw the Lord before me. And because of that, I was confident. Because of that, I was comfortable. Because of that, I was full of courage. And I was able to be happy with who I was. And not only that, I love it at the end where it says, you have shown me the paths of life. In other words, you have let me see which pathway was the right direction for me. And you showed me where to walk. And you led me down the right path. And I went where you sent me to go. You sent me over there, so I went that way. And you showed me the path, and I walked down that path. And the very last verse says, and in your presence, just like it says at the beginning of the Pathfinder law, to daily seek his presence. Loving the Lord my God, I will daily seek his presence. And in the end of this psalm, he says, and in your presence is the fullness of joy. It's so beautiful. When we're stressed and we're worried and we're carrying all of the burdens that Jesus said, he said, come and bring your burdens to me and give them to me and I will give you rest. When we give away all the worry and we give away all of the stress and all of those things that we carry around, he gives us his beautiful peace, and peace makes room for joy, which is so amazing. So we can have joy in our life, whether we're in our HSC or whether we're stressed about our friendships at school or whether we're worried about how we're going to make it up this giant hill in the Pathfinder expedition. We can have joy when we have Jesus in our life, when we have him with us, when we are in his presence. Loving the Lord my God, I will daily seek his presence. It's so beautiful. You will show me the paths of life and you will fill me with joy in your presence. Wow, that is amazing. And I think about Jesus and the way that he came to this world. He was always talking to God in prayer. He was always connecting with God. He was daily seeking God's presence. He was always saying, where do you want me to go? What are the paths of life that I need to walk down today? And he would go and pray privately by himself, and he'd go off into the bush and have a prayer. Or maybe he'd pray before sunrise really early in the morning. Or sometimes he'd pray with his disciples around. But he was always in that relationship with God. He was showing us what it could be like, what our life could be like, how we could have a relationship with God as pathfinders, as young people, and how that will impact our life for the better. Jesus knew where he was going. He knew the path of life, and he knew his mission that he had in this world. And did you know that you have a mission too? This is what Jesus said when he got up and spoke to the church the first time officially. He got up, he rolled out the scroll of Isaiah to Isaiah 61, and he read this: "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, because the Lord has appointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted, to announce that captives will be released and that prisoners will be freed. He has sent me to tell those who mourn that the time of the Lord's favor has come, and with it, the day of God's anger against the enemies. To all who mourn in Israel, he will give beauty for ashes, joy instead of mourning, and praise instead of despair." Jesus knew what his mission was. He had a relationship with God. He was daily seeking the presence of God in his life. Even though he was God, he was showing us what it looked like. He was daily in that conversation with God, and that he knew the path. He knew which way God was directing him, and he knew that his path was to set people free. His path was to heal broken hearts. His path was to look after people who were suffering. And if you feel like you're burdened down, and if you feel like you're struggling, his path is to look after you. And if you feel like you've been healed and you've been looked after by him and you've been blessed, then his path is to send you out to look after more people. Just like that poster that's in church. I don't know if you remember it from back before we had to go home for church. There's a poster that says, "To the sinner, he says, come." And once we're there, to the believer, he says, go. Because when we first come to God, he lifts all our pain and our stress, and then he sends us out on our own mission, which is so awesome. Now, I want to go to our next verse today from all the way back at the beginning of the Bible. And this is an amazing story of a man named Moses. Why do I choose this story for today as our main story before we wrap up this talk today? I choose it because at the end of the Pathfinder law, it says this: to be involved in my church and to go where he sends. I will go where God sends me. Whenever you line up there, whether you're in Friends, Companions, Rangers, Voyagers, Guides, Explorers, whatever, whichever one you're in, when you're standing there in our assembly and you're wearing your Pathfinder uniform, whether it's the casual one or the official one, when you're standing there and you say, "And go where he sends," at the end of that list, you're saying, "I'm willing, God, to go down that path of life that you are sending me on. I'm willing to walk down that path." Sometimes it's hard for us. It can be a bit scary. When I look at the story of Moses, suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared to him, blazing as a fire in the bush. And Moses was amazed that the bush was engulfed in flames, but it didn't burn. "Amazing," Moses said to himself. "Why isn't that bush burning up? I must go over and see this." And when the Lord saw that he had caught Moses' attention, I love that, because God could have walked right up and spoken to his face, but instead, he gently caught Moses' attention and brought him over to show him something interesting. God called out from the fire and said, "Moses." "Here I am," Moses replied. And you know what happened next? He took off his sandals. He was there talking with God. And then God said to him, "Now, I am sending you, Moses, to Pharaoh." And Moses turned around, nervous, and he said, "But who am I to appear before Pharaoh? How can I expect to lead the Israelites out of Egypt?" And God told him in verse 12, this is Exodus chapter 3, verse 12, God told him, "I will be with you." Moses didn't feel like he could do it, but God said, "I will be with you." In fact, Moses kept on pushing and arguing with God. It got right down to the very point after 3 or 4 different conversations back and forward, where Moses said, I can't speak, I'm too shy, people won't listen, they won't believe me, they won't think that God is real. And God gave him all of the perfect answers and helped him all the way until he finally said, "Well, I'm terrible at speaking. I'm too scared to speak to people." And God said, "Who makes mouths?" The Lord said, "Who makes people so they can speak or not speak, hear or not hear, see or not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go and do as I have told you, and I will help you to speak well. I will tell you what to say." Because God knows the path for you. He knows where he wants to send you. And he's not going to leave you on your own when you walk down the path. Just like Peter was saying when he stood up at Pentecost and he preached that amazing sermon. He said, you know what? In your fullness, or in your presence, God, when I'm with you, when I'm daily seeking your presence, and when I'm walking down the paths of life, you will fill me with joy in your presence. Because when I'm with you, I'm excited and it's awesome and it's so much fun walking down the path that you have led me down. And Pathfinders, God has a path for you. That's why we are practicing saying yes to God when we finish saying the law. At the end of our law, we say, and I will go where he sends. I'm practicing saying, yes, God, I will go. I'm practicing in my heart to say, yes, God, where you send me, I will go. I hope that you're doing it too, because he's got an amazing path for you, Pathfinders. He has an amazing future for you that has a plan and paths of life, and it's going to be awesome. I want to read a few verses before we close up today, just to give you a little bit more insight. It says in Psalm chapter 37, one of my all-time favorite verses. I said it last Sabbath, or a couple of Sabbaths ago when I spoke, and I just want to read it again and just help you to remember this one because it's super important. Psalm chapter 37, verse 23 and 24 says this: the steps of the Lord, or the steps of the godly, are directed by the Lord. That means when you seek God in a relationship, when you pursue his presence every day, like the Pathfinder pledge, I'll daily seek his presence. When you do that, he will guide your steps. He'll actually help you to know the path. He'll actually walk you down the path, the awesome adventure for your life. The steps of the godly are directed by the Lord. He delights in every detail of their lives, every detail of your lives. Though they stumble, they will not fall, for the Lord holds them by the hand. Sometimes it feels like you're on your own. Sometimes you don't know whether God's even interested in your life, but he is. And when you spend that time with him, when you come to him and get to know him, come to know his voice, then you'll be able to see the path he has for you. And you'll be able to have the joy that comes from being in his presence, which is so amazing. That's why we have it in our law. All the Pathfinders across Australia say the same thing. And I will go where he sends. And I will daily seek his presence. Another one says this: trust in the Lord with all your heart. I bet you know this one. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. Do not depend on your own understanding, but seek him. Seek his will in all that you do. And he will direct your paths. He will send you somewhere. He will send you on an adventure for your life. And the last one for today. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3. Commit your work to the Lord. Give all your ideas to him, all your plans. Say, God, I'm excited to be an architect. I'm excited to be a lawyer. I can't wait to finish school and go off and do this. This Christmas I'm going to hang out with my cousins and we're going to go off to the beach, or I'm going to go with my friends this weekend and we're going to do this. But whatever you do, whatever you plan, when you look into your future, commit it to God. Give it to God and say, God, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm excited for this, but I'm going to give it to you too, because I want you to guide my steps and I want to go where you send. So I'm going to commit my plans to you. And it beautifully says here in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3, commit your work to the Lord. Commit your plans to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. He will bless you. When you walk with him, you'll find joy. Walking with God doesn't mean being boring. Walking with God doesn't mean having to always say no to fun things. Walking with God means living with joy in your life and discovering the path that he has for you. And each time we meet together as Pathfinders, we're practicing. Every time we stand up together as a whole group and we say, I will go where he sends. And you're practicing, Pathfinders, for the day when he says, let's go. I have a mission for you. And you can say, yes, I will go. Just like Samuel, just like David, just like Moses, just like Peter, just like Esther and Ruth and all these awesome heroes who are willing to walk down the path that God had for their life. Pathfinders, God has a path for you. And I hope that you choose to say yes when the day comes for you, or the practice. You'll be able to turn it around and say to God, I will go where you send. Let's pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for every person watching today. Whether they're still wearing the Pathfinder uniform, or whether they're well and truly finished, or even if they're an adventurers or even too young. It doesn't matter how old we are. Each one of us has a path that you're lining up for us. Each one of us has a purpose that you set for our life. Each one of us has a way that we can stand next to you and we can heal the brokenhearted and we can set the captive free. Because you, Jesus, said that you are going to live in us. And when you live in us, you will set them free and you will heal them. So God, as we meet together as Pathfinders today, and as we stand together and put our right hand up, we make this pledge to seek you daily, to seek your presence. And at the very end of that law, God, we're practicing. We're practicing saying, yes, I will go where you send. Amen. So I'd love to hear, when did you serve as a Pathfinder leader?
We served in the Pathfinders, JMV Pathfinders, from 1976 to 1986.
Wow.
Inclusive.
That's awesome. That's a pretty solid stint right there.
Yes, it was, and but it was an enjoyable time.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I've got a couple of questions. I have 3 questions today that we're asking our different leaders. And the first question is, what was a highlight from your experience as a Pathfinder JMV leader in your time there?
I think the highlight for me was the Brisbane River Camporee. We had a very large club and trying to organise food and cooking and activities was pretty challenging, but it was good. And the big highlight was being rolled in the mud by the senior Pathfinder boys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good. Who were the senior Pathfinder boys?
Oh, golly. Shane O'Malley and Barton Champness. Can't remember the rest.
Awesome. We need the photographs.
Yeah. And the worship programs that they had at night were a real highlight.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's awesome.
But to me, I think the Tui Ridge Camporee in New Zealand was the highlight because I suppose it was because it was the last Pathfinder event that both Lan and I participated in. And by this time we'd had a fairly large club of around about 100 Pathfinders and staff, but only 60 were able to go to New Zealand, and that was a substantial number and required a lot of organisation and a lot of fundraising. The church was built on Lamingtons, our trip to New Zealand was built on Lamingtons. But it was worthwhile to see the Pathfinders just enjoying a new country, experiencing a new country, and also to making new friends.
Yeah, Tui Ridge is absolutely lovely. I've been there as a child. I lived in New Zealand and it's such a beautiful place. It's full of pine trees and just this lovely, cold, different environment to Australia. It feels very different there. And it's a great facility there, so that would have been a lot of fun.
Yes, it was.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I've got another question. Do you have a certain, a specific memory that stands out? Something that,
I think the individual class campouts were really great. We tried to just have one big camp out for the whole club a year, but individual ones, and the great helpers and teachers that we had. Some of them were with us the whole time, and I think I'd just like to sort of thank all of those people for the great effort that they put into doing the club camp out, the class campouts.
Yeah, that would be more work, running multiple camps like that. But I think it's pretty special to be able to be together as smaller groups. You get to experience a bit of that with the expeditions where we are travelling together with a small group for a few days, and that's a lot of fun.
Yes, yeah.
Well, those class campouts, they were scattered around the mountains or scattered around an area, and Leon and I used to travel from camp to camp just to visit, to see how they're getting on. It was really good to see the small class camps. But our yearly camp, they were big affairs. It was like running a camporee.
Yeah.
And a lot of organisation, but they again were a lot of fun. You remember the one at Joadja?
Yes. It was good because it was so cold that they didn't want to move from the fire.
That's good.
So we had no discipline.
That's great, yes. That's awesome, yeah. I think those big camps, we've been seeing it, like we've done a lot of that with Castle Hill.
Yeah.
Lots of big camps. Managing a big crowd with Mark and Megan has been quite fun.
Yeah.
But the small groups, they're good as well.
They're good, yeah.
Mark and Megan were junior pathfinders when we were with them.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing that interested me more because of my background, I was always conscious of any medical emergencies that may occur. But fortunately we were lucky, we only had lots of bumps and bruises and a few lacerations which we were able to sort out on site. But the one that really stands out was a well-known church member who was a senior, he was a senior pathfinder at the time, playing Capture the Flag, and he fell and broke his leg, which was a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
We were able to take him to hospital and he was all sorted out.
Oh, that's great. What kind of tents did you use back then? Were they canvas, kind of scout style ones, or?
No, they were like an A-frame size.
An A-frame style
yes.
tent, yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay, so we have one more question today.
Right. Yeah.
Unless do you have more to say?
No.
Yeah. Last question to ask is, what do you think Pathfinders means to you? What does Pathfinders mean to you?
I think Pathfinders is an excellent organisation for the young people. It helps them to cooperate. They learn to live with each other. They learn to inspire each other to achieve. They learn new skills, and they learn the benefits of new friendships. But I think most of all, they learn that there's a benefit in a close association with God. And Pathfinders has meant a lot to both of us, and we've always been interested in the Pathfinders ever since we ceased to be leaders.
Awesome. That's really good. Yeah, well, it's been absolutely lovely to hear your memories. And is there anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
Oh, I think we said enough.
You said enough. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Calvin. Thank you so much, Leon, for sharing from your memories. And I'm sure that people watching this right now will have good memories of when they were Pathfinders under your care. And I'm sure that it would be lovely to be together in church and we could give each other a hug and remember these things. But at least we can do this right now. And I'm really thankful for that. So thank you so much, and look forward to hearing from our next leaders.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Mel Olsen, a great man who led in Pathfinders at Castle Hill. How long did you lead in Pathfinders for?
For about 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
That is awesome. So we have the same 3 questions we've been asking our leaders. Our first question is, what is a highlight from your time as a Pathfinder leader?
I guess it's seeing a Pathfinder, started about 10 years old, and then, about 15 years later they pull me up in the street and say, "Remember me?" And then they tell me about what they learned in Pathfinders. That's pretty. I get quite a bit of buzz out of that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
And the camping was great. Seeing the kids become independent. Liz Bogart's cooking. That was wonderful. And a lot of camaraderie with the camporees.
That's awesome. That's so good. So the next question that we have is, what is a memory that stands out to you? Is there a memory you can think of from time when you were a leader? You just go, oh yeah, classic memory.
Yeah, I think one time we were hiking in we were doing an expedition in the Blue Mountains, and this young lad, literally broke down in tears, and because of the physical exercise that he had to do to get the task done. And so the easiest thing to do would be to pick up his pack and carry it for him, but we sat down with him, reasoned with him. He picked up his pack, he made the camp, and to see him overcome such a great emotional difficulty like that was really important. And the camporees are always great. Every time we have a camporee, you always have such a wonderful time. Lots of stories, lots of fun, great activities. It's see the kids grow. It's really good.
That's awesome. That's so good. Yeah, I've had my own experiences like that, young man, where you're struggling up a hill and it's just torture, but at the end of it, it's such a great thing to be able to look back and made it through that experience.
Yeah.
So we have just another question, just our last question, and that is, what does Pathfinders mean to you?
I think Pathfinders for me has been mainly family, because I was always with my kids when they were there, and many other families as well. The kind of bond you get when spending time with young people around a campfire, telling stories, working together, working as teams, it's a very practical way of many Christian principles, and I think that is the important part for me. It brings Christianity to reality.
No, it's an awesome thing, and I just really appreciate you sharing your memories. And is there anything else that you remember, or is that it?
Thank you for Pathfinders.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? Thank you so much, Mel, and it's great to have you with us today at church on this online service, and we look forward to hearing from our next leader as well.
Thank you.
So this is Sharon Duncan, one of our loved and valued Pathfinder leaders from Castle Hill Church Ministry. And how long did you serve as a Pathfinder leader?
Around about 7 to 8 years. I'd have to add up the numbers because I had 3 kids go through, and yeah.
And you were serving somewhere before Castle Hill?
I worked at Kellyville as their Pathfinder director for 1 year, and then I was asked to come across to Castle Hill.
Wow, that's awesome. So we've got 3 questions for you today. First question is, what was a highlight or a couple of highlights of when you were a leader? Like some of the highlights of being a leader of the club.
Okay. I think one of the biggest highlights was taking our Pathfinders to Vanuatu on our first mission trip, where they ran a VBS and they built a playground next to the hospital for the kids ward. That was just fabulous. And I think if you ask any of those senior Pathfinders now who are, well, they've left and grown and having children of their own, I think that was something that really stood out for them.
Who were those senior Pathfinders?
There was Rochelle Thompson and her age cohort.
Yeah. Kendra.
Yeah,
Danelle.
Kendra, Danelle.
Yeah.
Jared.
Yeah.
Michael Nolan.
Yeah, okay.
My kids.
Yeah.
Wendy Malcolm's family came with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was DJ and his family. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience for the kids to get across there and see a different culture.
So how did it come together? How did you pull together the trip? It's quite a big thing to go overseas.
Lots of prayer.
Yeah.
I actually met with the Vanuatu youth director at one of the youth congress sessions up in Brisbane. I think it was Move with the Power too.
Okay.
And we started talking about our similar backgrounds, that I'd grown up there, and started talking about the needs that they had out there. And he told me about the hospital situation, and that he would love for our group to come up and help somehow. So that's kind of where it started. So the youth director did lots of groundwork out there, and one of our Adventist elders was actually working for the American, I've forgotten the name of the organisation. But
P-
they do
P&O or like a
like an American NGO working with countries,
Yeah.
so representing the American government. He had a lot of contacts, so he was our go-to person at that end. And at this end, we did lots of fundraising with the Pathfinders. They had to earn their own airfares, and we fundraised for the playground equipment, which was given to us at half price by the manufacturer when he found out that what we were using it for. I had a friend I was selling chocolates to who said, oh, her brother actually worked in P&O. She wasn't an Adventist, neither was he. And when he found out about it, he said, well, P&O would be happy to ship the playground equipment for free to Vanuatu.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it all came together.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and God's leading all the way through, because we could never have afforded to do it ourselves.
Wow, that's so cool. So another question for you. Do you have like a certain memory or a couple of memories that stand out from being leader, from your camps or club meetings, things like that?
Yeah, Pathfinder early days. I'm a bit competitive, and so were the kids in Pathfinders at that stage, and we were awarded the Best Pathfinder Club Shield twice, and we received the Service Award once for our trip to Vanuatu. But the thing that touches my heart the most is that the first camporee that SPD did, the 12th Gate camporee, Eric White, was given this beautiful photograph of the campground up there with an inscription on the back thanking him for all the time he'd spent into organising and being with youth. And he actually gifted that to us, and it's now on the wall in the Pathfinder room.
I was wondering how that ended up there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's from Eric.
Well, there you go.
Which I thought
Thank
was
you,
just
Eric.
lovely.
As if you're watching right now, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question that we have is, what does Pathfinders mean to you? What does Pathfinders mean?
Pathfinders is a lifestyle for me. So I'm now working as a district director, paid with love.
Yeah. Committed.
Committed,
Yeah.
It's a way of bringing young people to Jesus. And I think it's one of the best evangelism opportunities that our church has, both for our own kids and for the public. I think one of the most poignant memories I have with the Pathfinders in that role is going through one of the pursuits called Free Pass, where the kids sat down and rated themselves against how they thought they met God's commandments. And then the realisation as the pursuit went on that how they saw themselves didn't matter. God already gave them an A+.
Yeah.
And he gave them a free pass to heaven. All they had to do was accept his love and his overwhelming sacrifice on their behalf. And I think getting young people to that understanding is why we're here. So it's that mission focus that I think is where my heart beats for Pathfinders.
That's it. Romans 5:8.
Yep.
He loved us and died for us while we were sinners.
Exactly right.
Amazing. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Aaron. So lovely to hear your memories, and I know we've heard from other leaders today, and it's just been great, so thank you.
You're welcome.
It takes many people to run a club, and we've got lots of thank yous. The first group we'd like to give thank you to's, give our thanks to, would be better, are our junior counsellors. So we've had Kai and Matt, who's not here, who's helped us out for 2 years now. We've got Caden and Jesse and Taylor, who've helped us out last year. And it's a great thing to have these guys help us out. You know, they do all the stuff that we ask them to do, and they're there as role models for the younger kids, and we're really delighted with what they're able to contribute. So thank you very much, guys, for your contribution to Pathfinders for 2020. Well done. The next group of leaders we'd really want to say thank you to are our leaders who have worked with us for a number of years but are continuing on next year. And it's just so wonderful to have so many wonderful leaders to help us out. We're so blessed. So this year we'd like to thank Renee, Bianca, Louis, Brett, Ollie, Susie, and Kelvin. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate everything you've given to the club. Cheers. The last group we'd like to thank are the leaders that are going to be leaving Castle Hill this year. And again, we've had so many wonderful leaders, and these guys are no exception, and we really appreciate the work that all of these people do. Starting with Paul. Some of the things we'll remember Paul for are his hooga booga games. This is a Megan's comment, mucking up the spreadsheets and not being able to fix them. His marketing flares and his videos. His photography. When we get our photos back, I might give 2 or 3. Others will give 15 or 20, and Paul's will be in the hundreds. So we've got so many to remember based on his photography. Of course, we couldn't forget baseball. Paul introduced us to a special form of baseball that will always be remembered at Castle Hill as Paul's baseball rules and his great big ideas that we often need to realitize. That's a new word I just made up. But he always has some fantastic ideas, and it's just so great to be able to say thank you, Paul, for everything that you put into our club. Thank you.
The next person we'd like to thank is Roger. I've done a couple of hikes over many years with Roger, and we've taken juniors on trips, and Roger is just a wealth of knowledge, from plants to trees to kids' behaviour to all sorts of things. Putting up tents, he never stops. Roger is amazing. For his age, he just keeps going and going and going and going. Like, he puts me to shame sometimes. So thank you, Roger, for your commitment to our club. And Roger leaves us to go and set up Pathfinders again in Thornlea. So we wish you all the best as you start that again. They've got some young kids over there ready to start Pathfinders. So thank you for being such a worker, for never stopping, and for just being with us for many years. Thanks.
I have to say, Roger goes well, even not for his age, for anyone's age. So, next person we'd like to thank is Pastor Nick. So, a couple of things to remember Pastor Nick by is his gourmet camp cooking. We'll all have our dehydrated food. Now will come all the fresh food that he's been carrying with all the other heavy stuff. So I don't think weight even notices how much is there. Always being relied on for worship, any time at all. Particularly the thing that I guess the most thankful for is the conversations, connections and relationships that you've made with each of the Pathfinders. To see you sitting and having a good deep conversation is really special. So the chaplain role was one that I really wanted to get going here. When we started, we didn't have a chaplain, but it's something that I felt very strongly about, as to getting a chaplain into our club. Unfortunately, I burnt through chaplains very quickly because I expected very high expectations from them. And I think I went through 3 chaplains in 3 years, but I'm not sure what it is, but Nick's managed to stay here for 4. So that's a huge mark in its own right for that he's been able to put up with us for that long. But Nick, we really appreciate everything that you've done and for how you've connected with the kids and connected them to God. Thank you very much. I have one other award here that's a really sort of unique award because it's never been done before. And we had a parent helper come on our camps before they were a leader back in 2013. And they came on the Pathfinder expedition. And at the end of the expedition, they handed me something. They said, I think we should make a trophy out of this. And I thought, what are we going to do with that? What do I want to do with that? Well, it's been sitting in my garage for 8 years, and I finally made a trophy out of it. And I'd like to present the trophy now to Paul, the finder of the trophy, which is off a car that they found down in the bush. And it's to remember Murra Camp 2013. Paul, there you go. He still remembers it.
Okay, my job is to say thank you to Mark. Okay. I've known Mark since we were both in Castle Hill Primary School together. He was a few years older than me, but yeah, we've known each other a long time. And it was always assumed that when our kids got to be Pathfinder age, that we'd be running the club. Mark never balked at this, he embraced it, and here we are 8 years later, we're still running the club. So I remember sitting in a meeting with Michael Ashby a long time ago, Leonie and Kathy, and we were being briefed on how to take over this club. Man, we were overwhelmed. We sat in that Pathfinder room, we were handed bits of paper, we were handed discs, we were handed all sorts of things as to reporting, as to forms, all sorts of paperwork that needed to be completed to just take a group of kids away for the weekend. So it was overwhelming. But we got there, we've made a few changes along the way. We've put everything online, we've made it a bit easier for ourselves, we've made it a bit easier, hopefully, for the next leaders that come on board. And I want to thank Brett for helping us a lot with all the technology and moving the club forward. But Mark is an amazing leader. He's got the right balance of the practical skills, the leadership skills, the computer skills, and he's able to relate to the kids and to have fun. He's really hands-on. So he puts the kids first, and I know Brett's discussed some of the attributes of Mark, but you've got to indulge me and allow me to go a bit further. When we arrived at a campsite on a Friday night, you know, we've been working all week, just like everybody else. We unpack, kids unpack, tents go up, tarp goes up, we have worship, kids go to bed, we have a leaders meeting about the weekend. And when everyone else is settled and sorted, then Mark puts up his tent. It's everybody else before him. And that's the way it's always been. Kids come first. It's a huge responsibility to take away a group of kids, particularly a group of 60 or so kids, away for a weekend. Hiking for camporees, taking them away for longer for camporees. You know, dealing with all aspects of food, showering, toileting, shelter, water, medicine, all the emergencies and the, you know, unforeseen things that happen. It's just a huge responsibility. We're not trained in this. We've never been trained in this, but we've embraced it. And yeah, I think I have amazing memories of my time in Pathfinders, and I know all these kids will look back at Mark as the leader, and they will say, you know, thanks. And when they've got kids, they will be equally thankful for all the skills that he's empowered them with over the many years. Mark's skills in navigating and bushwalking, second to none. He's done many night walks with groups of kids on expeditions that want to go all night just to see if they can do it, just to see if they can get that highest marker or the marker with the most points or whatever it is. And he's willingly led them all night. So he's taught them so many things in terms of map and compass. He'll often let them go in the wrong direction, knowing full well they're going in the wrong direction, and knowing that they're going to have to retrace their steps just to prove a point and to teach them what they missed. I've lost count of how many times I've seen Mark come back from a hike camp with his own pack on his back and another kid's pack on his front. Okay? Just the weight that he's carrying up the hills and it is amazing. If one of the kids is struggling and in an effort to keep the group moving, he'll take stuff out of their pack, he'll carry it and, you know, get everybody through to the end. We've had a couple of broken wrists, a couple of dislocated knee, allergic reactions, sprained ankles. We've had a few leaders who have been unwell over the years as well. But Mark's always calm in these situations, very caring and always quick to develop a plan of what we're going to do, how we're going to react, and how we're going to, you know, solve the situation. We have a rule that when we arrive at a camp, we always arrive together and we always leave together. Everybody knows when Castle Hill arrives, we've got a convoy of 15 cars that just rock into camp together, and here we are. So Mark does a lot of pre-planning. He'll never take the kids away on a camp unless he's eyeballed the situation himself. Knowing the contingencies, knowing where the local hospital is, filling in all the forms, and just covering all bases so that we are safe and we know what's happening. He's hands-on, wanting to get involved, always positive and prepared to give anything a go. I mean, you've seen on some of the photos and videos that Mark's the one there with eggs being thrown at him, flour all over him, covered in foam, covered in mud, everything else having a go. He reminds us as leaders before we go on a camp that we're there for the kids, but we're also there to empower the kids, you know. Pathfinders, they want to do some crazy things sometimes, you know. Auntie Megan and Uncle Mark, can I swim to the other side of the creek? You know, it's easy to say no. It's easy to say no, it's unsafe. But, you know, Mark has always said, we give them a go. We let them go. And provided it's safe, we let the kid. We trail them in a boat. We walk with them if they want to swim across that creek. If they want to chop that piece of wood, well, this is how you do it properly. This is how you use the axe, and this is how you do it properly. So the skills that he has taught the kids will be with the kids forever. And they'll be able to pass it on to their kids. And Mark's got an amazing ability to fix anything. Absolutely anything. Even last weekend, we were filling up water balloons down in the school down here, having some games. And the fitting came off the tap. Uncle Mark, help! Okay, and Kai, he ran up to Uncle Mark's car, grabbed a screwdriver or pliers or spanner or whatever it was, and before you know it, the situation's solved and the problem's fixed. I mean, who carries all those tools in your car anyway? But Mark's always got something that will fix something, and he's very clever in finding a solution to any problem. Playing baseball with the kids a couple of years ago on Fred Caddison Reserve, the whole sprinkler system came on the oval. And Mark managed to trace the irrigation lines back to the base and did whatever he did and shut off the watering system. So, you know, he's just amazing with the skills that he has. So I just want to say, all these kids from the last 8 years will have the same memories of you as their Pathfinder leader. I'm proud of these kids, and I know he is too. And we're so thankful to have you as a Pathfinder leader. You treated them all with kindness, respect, listened to all the kids, engaged with them in talking to them and teaching them, and all the fun activities we've done along the way. The other leaders look to you for timely decision making, and with consultation, we agree and put a plan forward in action. So it's a very consultative leadership, and Mark should be praised for his decency, consistency and fairness in all the decisions that he's made. You've shown the kids many aspects of nature that they would never have seen, and you've been a shining example of Christ-like behaviour. The many adventures, fun and challenging times that we've had together will forever be a part of my memory, and in many ways, I know I am sad to say goodbye, and I'm sure you are too. So on behalf of the other leaders, we just want to say thank you, and thank you for the example that you've set for the last 8 years. So thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Yes, this is emotional. It's emotional because this is our family. It's more than a job. It's more than a role we take. We really dedicate ourselves to this, and that's why we put so much into it, and it means so much. Thank you so much for those lovely words. It's really beautiful. And I have so many memories of this role. And, you know, if I had to do it again, I would jump at the opportunity because it's been an amazing experience, an amazing 8 years. And, yeah, it's going to be something that I'll treasure for the rest of my life. So it's fantastic. Now, it's my turn to say a few words about Megan, but I haven't got 2 pages of typewriting, so it's not going to go for that long. Not because I couldn't go for that long, because Megan has also done an amazing job. And I'm just going to share a couple of the smaller, or just a shorter list, I guess, but my thanks is still unlimited to what Megan has been able to do, because it's not my club, it's our club, and we do everything together. And it's not, I might be the person up the front speaking, but there's a tribe of people behind that support and put it all together and come up with the results. So on my short list, communications, you're so blessed that you get updates from our camps on Facebook and what we're doing. The emails that go out, the newsletters all come from Megan. Facebook, I'm not even on Facebook, so I can't get that one. Chasing and reminding people. So often I'll get an SMS, Mark, read your email, because it's been 10 minutes and I haven't responded to my email. But that's what makes things work. Tracking all the attendance, the pursuit hours, the worksheets. Minute-to-win-it games is something that Megan introduced to us, and it's a real treasure that we enjoy playing, and all the work that goes into it. It's not only thinking up the games, it's coming up with 10 bags of all the goodies that make the games work, and all the hours that went into that to have lots of fun. Compiling and submitting the honours and orders at the end of the year. Now, that might sound like a boring job, but there's hours of work in that. And you go through and put them all in bags and get it all sorted so that when you see us handing out an envelope at the end of the year, you don't realise the hours of work that have gone behind to coordinate and get that sorted. Coordinating the calendar. Worship pursuits. This is what I need. Thanks, Brett. Yeah, there's a lot of work in that. Thank you. See, this is what we have people for. Thank you very much. And I don't mind that it's emotional because it just shows our love for it. But yeah, coordinating the calendar, getting all the pursuits sorted for that, to set us up for the year. We are a very organised club, but the we is primarily because of Megan. Megan organises it, helps us to get things sorted, gets in our forms on time, our 200 Club Award, our meeting agendas, our club reports, even just putting together our car list, our tent list of who's sleeping in what tent. Got to say that the right way. Who's going in what cars. Things just run like clockwork because of the hours of work put in. And Megan, we really couldn't have done it without you. We really appreciate everything that you've done, and I really appreciate what you've done. So thank you so much. So yes, we are a Pathfinder family, and we really treasure our leaders. So thank you, everyone. Another very special award we have is the Timothy Flanjack Award. And it's always one I struggle to get through. So Tim was a Pathfinder when I was at Pathfinders. He was a senior Pathfinder and someone that I really looked up to. But unfortunately, Tim lost his life in 1984. He was actually walking with his parents, with his dad, and he slipped on a cliff. But what we want to do today is we want to remember him through a special award. And this award is in recognition of a senior Pathfinder who excels in the outdoors, works hard throughout the year, and has a passion for Jesus. And this year, I'd like to present the award to Erin Howie. Congratulations. So Erin showed determination on a number of times throughout this year, particularly on our recent walk where she hurt her ankle and was so determined to walk out that we made a crutch for her and she managed to walk out by that. So congratulations, Erin. It's a real privilege to give that award to you. The next award we're going to give out is the Pathfinder Excellence Awards. And this is a very special award, which Peter will share a little bit more about it in a minute. And to award this, we set up an independent committee to select and award the special Pathfinders to receive it this year. It's a challenging task because we have so many wonderful Pathfinders and we are limited to the number we can give out. But the people I'd like to call up to receive this award today are Colin, Joel, and Nicole. Just stand there, face the front. A couple of highlights that I'd just like to share with this, and I need my glasses because I'm getting older. And that is some of the achievements that these guys have done. So starting with Joel. Now Joel has achieved the Advanced Award every year that he's attended Pathfinders. And he's also completed during his Pathfinder days a total of 114 honours, which you can see on his sash. Colin has also been very busy, and I was particularly encouraged, excited, proud of the work that Colin did at home this year. The work you did was amazing, Colin. I thought you put a huge amount of effort into it, and it was really incredible to read what you've done. In addition to that, Colin has completed 63 honours during his Pathfindering. Last but certainly not least is Nicole. Nicole has also achieved advance in every year that she's been in Pathfinders. And one of her highlights is that she has also completed a total of 62 honours during her Pathfinder years. So congratulations, guys.
Yes, as Mark said, the Pathfinder Excellence Award is given only to a select number of Pathfinders. And that's because it's actually the highest award that a Pathfinder can get in Pathfinders. And it's given to those that have met a criteria of being an exceptional Pathfinder. Mark also mentioned that there is a group of people here at Castle Hill that have done the selection criteria, gone through it, and worked out who should get it. So it's kept very impartial. So we congratulate these Pathfinders who have had their names presented to the conference as well to be approved at conference level. So we congratulate them today. Thank you.
Well done. We started a tradition at Castle Hill of a new award which we designed ourselves, and it's the Double Decker Award. Double Decker means 20. And so this is to the Pathfinder who has achieved 20 or more honours. And this year, we only had one person at Castle Hill to achieve 20 honours, and that was Joel. Joel, please come up. Congratulations. Now, Joel, we have another award to give you. And this is for an additional work that you've put together, which is your Pathfinder, well, it's actually not a Pathfinder, it's your Youth Silver Award. And there was a lot of work put into the Silver Award. And so it gives me great privilege to award you with the Silver Award for Youth. And you get a special pin, which I won't pin on you because I'll probably stab you. So congratulations, well done. The next award we have to present is to one of our Pathfinder leaders. And this is a very special award, I guess, to get. But it's for leadership in Pathfinders, being the Pathfinder Leadership Award or PLA Award. And our leader who's achieved that this year is Paul. Paul, please come up. Congratulations, Paul. Well done. Hold that one there. The elbows. Cheers. I think Peter can say a few words too.
Yeah, I think this is representative of a lot of hard work that's been put in at the conference. There are two streams. There's Pathfinder's stream, and there's a whole lot of learning around Pathfinders and what it's all about, some of the things that Pathfinders get up to. But also, there's a lot of hard stuff that comes from the Cert 4 in outdoors through Avondale College. So there's an awful lot of learning, an awful lot of time that is spent, but to gather lots of skills. And it really is appreciated to see someone stepping forward at Castle Hill to get that award.
Well done.
During this next video, it's time to give generously. Our offering this week is for the local church budget. Giving generously makes all these things happen that we appreciate as a church. So you can give online or come in on a Monday afternoon between 2 and 4 where Richard Hurrell is here to accept anything you'd like to give. Thank you.
For our friends' class, their first Pathfinder experience was a little bit unusual, but thankfully they managed to get a camp in at least. But even that camp was under threat because of the crazy storms that we'd had. We made it there and we had a fantastic time, and I think all the kids that got to go on their one and only camp really had a good time. Our companion class were the experts this year, and they helped our friends learn all the different things they needed to do to set up tents and to tidy their tents and what have you. As usual, our initiation activities on the beach on Saturday night were a lot of fun, and on Sunday we managed to build some rafts as we went down the little river, except Auntie Bianca and I spent most of our time pulling out tiny little bits of shells out of Ali's foot. Well, once we moved on to Zoom meetings, we still managed to engage the kids in lots of fun. We tied knots, we learnt first aid, we learnt how to read topographic maps. Kai and Matt gave us a lot of laughs with their drama, and we enjoyed some bushworks as well. I think, though, the highlight was Uncle Roger's cooking demonstration, where all the juniors learnt to cook Anzac biscuits all on Zoom, all live together. I hope that our friends get to experience a bit more of a normal Pathfinder club next year.
Now we're going to invest our junior Pathfinders, our friends group. We have Leo, Josh, Rohit, Indy, and Emily. Here is our companion class to be invested. We have Michael, Josh, Jasmine, Daisy, Chloe, Liana, and Ali.
For the intermediates class, my fondest memories is of during the COVID period of doing our classes online and seeing all the children pop up just like passport photos on Zoom and sending messages to the various children to try and get them to laugh as Uncle Mark was talking. I managed to do it a few times and get a few of them into trouble. My most vivid memory is of our first camp at 7 Mile Beach, and as Susie mentioned, it was cyclonic conditions, amazingly big waves, and on Saturday morning after our classwork on the sand, a few of us were asked to go and supervise the children and supervise them as they swam. About 2 minutes later, a freak wave hit me and off went my $400 pair of glasses that Uncle Richard had made for me just 2 weeks before. I wasn't as blind as the Apostle Paul, but I was pretty close to it. And I grappled my way back to camp, luckily to find a pair of contact lenses that I was able to scratch around in for the rest of the camp. But certainly it's been an amazing year. The intermediates have had a great time, especially with our 2 short hikes, one to Jerusalem Bay and the other on the Great North Walk, and they'll be memories that we'll take with us forever.
We'd like to invest the explorers, our first intermediate group. We have Caleb, Seth, Manisha, Maisie, Ruth, and we'd also like to invest Rachel, who spent a lot of time with us this year, and she's in Murwillumbah. So congratulations, Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. Pathfinder has changed a lot this year due to COVID-19, and even though we've only had one camp, we've still done lots of fun activities and honours.
Okay, our Ranger class, our second intermediate class, we have Arvin, Max, Amari, Brendan, and Tim.
The seniors are always a special class because Uncle Mark does some really fancy work with them over the couple of years that they're in seniors. And this year's no exception. Even though we swapped over to Zoom, we had some amazing times together. But we also, during COVID, had 2 day walks. And one of them was actually to do Camp Oven Honour. So this is where the seniors make some amazing dishes, pizza and peach cobbler and some other things. And this year was just as amazing as the previous years before. You just add a few toppings and it just tastes amazing. But most amazingly was our last walk. Our last walk, one of the senior girls, we were just finished off our lunch and we were just walking our way up this really big hill when she sprained her ankle. And it was amazing to see the companionship of the other girls as they sort of worked out between themselves how we were going to get ourselves back up the hill. Now, she could have taken the easy way out because the car park was just 200 metres back that way and a car could have come back and picked her up. But no, she was so determined to walk back up. And as she was hobbling back up on one leg, here's this giant brown snake in front of us, just sunning itself in the sun. And so, hobble and all, we stopped and had to wait for the snake in its time to move on and allow us to go past. And boy, I'd never seen Erin hobble so quickly past this brown snake when it was safe to do so. So this is my very special moment, how Erin and her friends worked together initially to get herself motivated back up the hill all the way back to the car.
We'd like to invest our first senior group, our Voyagers. We have Robbie, Georgia, Julia, Eddie, and Maxim. Our guide class, and this is just our girls at the moment, we'd like to invest Jess, Nicole, Diana, Rohita, Sophie, Aaron, and Steph. Okay, we'd now like to invest our guys from Guides. And we have Matt, Joel, Colin, Josh, and Ben.
We'd just like to acknowledge our 2020 Master Guides, Caden, Georgie and Jesse, for the incredible work they've done this year, the effort that they've put in. They haven't allowed COVID to stop them. Instead, they got creative and did storytelling online, created games online, even ran honours via Zoom. So we're nearly there, guys. We've got probably 80% done. So if we can keep the momentum, keep encouraging each other, and look forward to Investiture 2021. Well done, Master Guides.
Pathfinders, you've learnt a number of areas this year. God, yourself, nature, and the community. And these are skills which you are going to take through your lives. And I charge you that you will hang on to these things as you grow into the men and women that God wants you to become. And I know that you've worked really hard this year, and I'm really pleased to see the work in which you've put together and that we're able to invest you today.
I've enjoyed church today, and I am always reminded that the local church is the hope of the world. And you've seen throughout our church service that there's been a lot of emotion, raw emotion. We've farewelled our leaders from the Pathfinder Club, Mark and Megan, and we're grateful for all that they've done for us over the many years of service. And churches go through seasons like I mentioned before, and now we have a new leader for our Pathfinder Club. It's taken us a little while to find Ollie as our new leader. Let's give him a clap, yeah. It's taken us a little while, but I believe that God always takes his time in choosing the right leader, like he has in the Bible, like he has in our church many times and throughout history. God takes his time, but he knows who to choose next. And I want to invite you as a church to support Ollie in his leadership with a new team, the Pathfinder Club, as they head into 2021. Once again, we're stepping into the unknown into next year, but we ask you for your support and for your support with the Pathfinders and Ollie. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ollie. We're in good hands moving forward. But to signify the transfer of leadership, I want to give you two things in passing the baton. First of all, I want to give you the keys. So now the trailer responsibility is yours, the shed, everything else is yours. But the keys don't make the club run. So my next gift may help to do that. So I've found this a practical item which does help me run the club. And so I want to officially present to you your own whistle, which may help control things. Congratulations, I know the club's in good hands and I'm always happy to help from a distance. Good luck, all the best.
Shall we just pray? If you bow your heads, please. Our Heavenly Father in heaven, we thank you so much that you love and care for every Pathfinder that we have here today. Lord, you are interested in every little thing that they do, from school to their friends, to church, to Pathfinders, to everything. And we know, Lord, that we want them to follow you, and we pray that they will. Thank you for the effort that they've put in and the learning that they've put in. Thank you, Lord, too, for the amount of effort that the leaders have put in. From Mark and Megan right through to each of the instructors and to those that have just had small parts to play in the bigger picture of putting Pathfinders at Castle Hill together. We thank you for them. Lord, we thank you for this church, that this church is prepared to get behind the Pathfinder Club and to be able to be interested in what the Pathfinders are doing and get involved in. And we thank you and we pray too for their parents and for this church here at Castle Hill. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
beside